the Divorced Girl Smiling Podcast with your host, Jackie Pilosoff.
No one should have to go through a divorce feeling alone and isolated. The Divorced Girl Smiling Podcast is a production of Divorced Girl Smiling, where every show is 30 minutes aimed to empower you, help you feel validated and understood, and connect you with some of the best divorce professionals in the industry. So grab a cup of coffee or a glass of wine and start smiling as you join us right now for the Divorced Girl Smiling Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found and always at divorcedgirlsmiling.com. Before we get started, I want to tell you about a wonderful divorce coach named Karen Covey. Karen is a former divorce attorney, doesn't practice anymore. She also is a mediator, but she now is solely a divorce coach. Karen is wonderful. I've probably known her for about 12 years, and Karen provides divorce and decision-making coaching to busy professionals who want to make clear, competent decisions during one of the toughest yet most sensitive times in their life. I'm telling you, if you hire Karen to help you and hold your hand through your divorce, you will have such a better outcome and you will feel so much more supported. The process will be smoother and everything will just go so much better because Karen really knows what she's doing. Karen is also the creator of her online course, The Divorce Roadmap 3.0, How to Successfully Mediate Your Divorce. It's an online program that she just came out with, and she's also the host of the Off the Fence podcast and video series. If you want to learn more about Karen, you can find her at KarenCovey.com. I also want to tell you about my newest Divorce Girl Smiling trusted professionals. Debbie Glickman and Tammy Levy are Glickman Levy Residential. They are two amazing women. I have known them for many, many years. They're both entrepreneurs. They're both so energetic. Both are really, really experienced, and they are the kind of people who really listen to your needs and goals. I love Debbie and Tammy, and I am so excited to be working with them because I really trust them. If you want to learn more about Glickman Levy Residential, you can find them at atproperties.com and then just look up Glickman Levy Residential. If you're going through a divorce, you're going through a ton of changes, and one of those changes might be the fact that you are going to return to work, either because you want to or financially it makes sense, or you're changing jobs because you want to work less, or you're changing jobs because now you have to work more. So it can feel very stressful, very intimidating, and really frustrating if you're feeling resentful about it. But I want to dedicate this podcast to telling you why not only shouldn't you be intimidated, scared, frustrated, or resentful, but try to look at it as being excited, because change can turn out to be the best thing that ever happened to you. So today we're going to talk about job searching tips for women going through a divorce. My guest is a great, great guest for this topic. Her name is Amy Ratnow, and Amy is the founder of her company, ALR Connections, that helps people get jobs and prepare to go back to work. Hi, Amy.
Hello. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
Always nice to talk to you, Amy. I absolutely love what you're doing. And I want to tell my listeners that Amy's not divorced, but Amy spent a long time staying home with her kids and then went back to work. So tell my listeners, Amy, don't you understand how you can be intimidated and scared and like you're not really sure what you're supposed to be doing right now because you have kids and there's maybe nannies involved? What was that like for you?
Yeah, yes, I have not been divorced, but I definitely have a handful of friends who have gone through the divorce process. And I will tell you that I was there alongside of them. And then also they were alongside of me during this process. And let's face it, I was raised to be an MRS. That's what my parents wanted me to be. And that's not what my life had in store for me, what I wanted for myself. So when my kids went back to school, I realized that I wanted to work. I wanted to work 9 to 3. I wanted to find a flex schedule job where wherever I worked, understood that I was also a mother and that I had priorities outside of work. So I created this company 7, almost 8 years ago, trying to bridge the gap for women who were looking for flexible opportunities or full-time opportunities and small businesses that didn't have HR departments. And I know a lot of times when women are getting divorced or life changes have happened to them, they've lost their sense of confidence, their sense of self. They feel like that no one wants them to hire them, and they're really having a lot of self-doubt. So we created 3 different ways to help women get back on their feet, and we're always here to listen. We have a free offering to all of our women who contact us. We talk to them on the phone for 30 minutes. We find out who they are, what they're looking for, how we can help them, and then we kind of guide them along their way. So the first step would be for them to get their resume together. I mean, that's the number one thing that you need to do. And every single person, whether you like it or not, has to have some type of resume. And it's super easy. So we have offered now free service or a service where you can pay to do it yourself or a service where someone can actually do it for you. So we have 3 different options for people.
Okay.
In that
So
first step.
So let me back up because I totally understand what you're saying. And whether you're divorced or not divorced, if you go back to work after having kids and you haven't been in the workforce for a long time, technology changes really quickly now,
Yes.
especially like in the last decade. It's like ridiculously changed. And it can feel really scary. And the other component is like, well, I can't go back to my 9 to 5 job because I can't leave the house at 7 and come home at 6 at night because I have kids. So for me, that was my biggest fear. I was like, I cannot leave these kids and I don't want to miss after school basketball games and things like that. And so that was really hard for me. So I absolutely love that you have created this company to help women find jobs that fit their schedules. And correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of these are work out of your house, maybe.
Yeah, so the goal is
So
Yeah, I mean, the goal in mind is to find any small business that does not have an HR department that wants to hire women who they know are dedicated, hardworking, loyal. The big keyword is experienced because all of our women have life experience and work experience. And it may not be in what they're asking to do now, but they have this work life experience where it's usually these entry level jobs that they can start in while the client is or the company is learning. They're learning together, and so you're kind of growing together, and it really feels fulfilling when you're both going through the growing stages together, so you're growing together. So it's a really good match for women who are re-entering the workforce. So we try to do remote, we have some hybrid, but the goal in mind is to just to employee matchmake women with opportunities and try to find an opportunity for everyone.
okay, now I want to say that what's so nice about this is that you help people also prepare. So you said you have a 30-minute consult where you talk to someone, but then also you can help them do their resume for a fee, or you can show them how to do it, and
You
they
can download it on the website for $50 and it's DIY, so it shows you yourself. If you're one of those people who wanna do it yourself but just need the DIY steps to do it, there's that option. And then the second option, you could do a one-on-one with Carly where she meets with you one-on-one and really helps you. And then we have seminars and workshops that are online that you can also sign up for. So we have classes that we offer that are an hour and a half long, that's it. We have them offered in computer skills, QuickBooks, social media, and then resume writing. So we really try to help women get a little bit of confidence up and going before they start their new job experience so they can feel good about it. It's an hour and a half. It's not a huge investment, but it's an investment in your future for sure.
And what I want to tell people listening is that it sounds really intimidating and hard, but I'm telling you, when you figure it out, which you will, I mean, even if you don't have a college degree,
Yeah.
if you went even to high school, you could figure it out. It's so easy, and then you're gonna love it. You're gonna feel so empowered, so smart, so powerful, so confident, and you'll be ready
Empowered for sure.
big time. All right, so
Yeah.
let's get into the job search tips that you wrote for Divorce Girl Smiling. So I wanna tell the listeners that Amy wrote an article called 5 Job Search Tips for Women Going Through a Divorce. The first one you wrote, this is kind of like people would say, really? Is that the most important thing? But it really is, and Amy will tell you why, is refresh your professional presence. What does that mean?
Right now everything is image based in social media. So you really want to make sure that all your social media platforms, because believe it or not, I mean, the majority of what we do is look on social media to find research about you. So if you feel that your Instagram or your Facebook or your LinkedIn page does not look up to snuff, change it. Make it look as if somebody is looking to hire you and they're doing background checks on you. So your picture is the first step. Image is everything, impression is everything. So make sure that your picture is up to date, looks good on your LinkedIn profile and your social media platforms if you do use them.
Okay, one, I would tell my listeners to invest in a professional photo.
Yep.
And I just did one through Amy's company, through ALR, and it was $100 and it was the best headshot. I'm so glad I did it. And so Amy offers these from now and again. She'll get together with these photographers and partner and they'll take your picture. But even if
Yeah, we
you don't,
always try to do events. We always
yeah.
try to do, if you're local here, I know everyone's not local, but if you're local in the Illinois area, we do try to do these local events to get people out and about and get confidence, meet people, give them free resources. Online, we also have the resources that are free and available, but um, we're just trying to be a community of resource for sure. Yeah.
Okay, and what I was gonna say is even if you don't live in Chicago and can't take advantage of it, there are so many companies that offer things like this, like specials on headshots. It's really worth it. And also, if your Facebook has like a bunch of pictures of you on it with drinks in your hand partying and you're looking for a job, just take them off or cut the drinks out because you just don't want, like, you want to think to yourself, any employer is going to look at my Facebook page, look at my LinkedIn, Google me, see if there's anything. And if there's any pictures you don't like Amy said, get them off there. You're listening to the Divorce Girl Smiling podcast. My name is Jackie Pilosoff, and I'm your host. I'm here today with Amy Ratnow, who's the founder of ALR Connections, the company that helps women get jobs. And if you want to find Amy and ALR, the best place is alrconnections.com, or you can also go to staffingwomen.com. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we have 4 more job searching tips for women going through a divorce. We'll be right back. Fear, doubt, and self-sabotage are 3 things that divorcing women are prone to, myself included all those years ago. When I was getting divorced, I wish I would have had an opportunity to work with a divorce coach like Michelle Heffron to help me with these emotions and to help get me back on track to a life I love. And I actually got there, but it took me so much longer and it was so much harder. Michelle Heffron is a wonderful coach. She's divorced, she's a successful professional in her past corporate life, and she is lovely, so inspiring, great listener, reinvented herself. She's a mom. I mean, such positivity, such class, such great energy. If you want to learn more about Michelle, you can find her at michelleheffron.com, and that's 1 L for Michelle and 2 F's in Heffron. I also want to tell you about a really, really wonderful online dating coach and personal stylist. Her name is Alyssa Deneen, and she's the founder of her business, Style My Profile. Alyssa is divorced. She spent several years on dating sites before meeting the love of her life, and she still goes on the dating sites so she can help her clients. She can help you write your online profile, do photo shoots with you, choose the best photo for you, communicate with your matches, swiping, do's and don'ts, answer your dating questions, and help you stay positive and inspired during those times when online dating might seem horrifying. If you want to learn more about Alyssa, you can find her at stylemyprofile.nyc.com. Welcome back to the Divorce Girl Smiling podcast. My name is Jackie Pilosoff, and I'm your host. Are you going through a divorce and thinking you're going to have to go back to work? If so, this is a great episode for you. I'm here today with Amy Ratnow, founder of ALR Connections, good friend of mine, somebody I respect and trust so much. Amy, I love what you're doing. You are helping people so much. Like, I'm sure you know that, but it's really true because I was
Yeah.
there and I remember
Mhm.
just feeling so not confident in myself. Like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to make it all work? Well, guess what? There's like millions of women who are doing it. And if they're all making it work, you can too. Okay.
Right.
Next
Yeah.
tip.
I believe in connections, right? I believe that in order to really get what you need, you have to utilize the people that you know, and someone knows somebody who knows somebody. So you might as well use those resources. So number two on that list is about expanding your network. And it's about letting everyone know what you're looking for. Write a list of your own PR, who you are, what you can do, what you're looking to make, how much you want to make, how often you want to work. Sell yourself. The more people that you know and who like you and respect you are going to help you. So that's number two is
That's
expand
the
your
best
network.
way to get a job. And
Mhm.
also, like, if you don't know what you wanna do, like, there's probably a lot of people listening that are like, "I don't know what I wanna do," but here's the thing, there's lots of things you're probably really good at, so just keep an open
Mhm.
mind, and if people the first question people will say is, "Well, what do you wanna do?" It's okay
Mhm.
to say, I'm not being specific, there's lots of good things. I'm a good salesperson, I'm a quick typer, I'm really organized, I could do this, this, and this." Just talk about what you like to do and what you can do. You don't and don't say like, "I don't know." Just say, right, Amy? What should they
Yeah.
say?
I mean, it's really important right now in this discovery stage as you're going on LinkedIn or Indeed or wherever you're looking for your jobs is to see the types of jobs that you are focusing or geared towards and start writing them down in your notes. I know it sounds silly, but keep track of where you see your mind focusing or gravitating towards because that's obviously something that's of interest to you. And if you're of interest to that, then it won't feel like a job. It will feel like you're doing your passion. And we all know that if you are doing what you're passionate about, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like that's what you're meant to be. So I would definitely, when you're in an interview, be very aware of who and what. And I could say, you could say, I'm just trying to be open and feel what the right culture and right environment is right now. And I think a lot of the jobs, especially that we are trying to do, is matchmaking. So it's really based more on culture than it is on because everyone can do the basic skill set. It's about like, do you want to be in an industry? Is there growth potential? Will it make me learn something new or is it just static in the one place? Like there's a lot of other things that go into looking for a new job. And so I think it's important to identify those first.
And also, like, don't be ashamed if you have to do, like, a menial job if it's in a field that you love, and I've told this story before, and I think it's very important. So, I didn't just become a Chicago Tribune columnist. My first job after I had kids, very first job, I got a job with a local paper called the Pioneer Press for $50 a week, writing a column of what was going on that weekend in the town where I lived, literally. And then I got they liked me. I did a few articles. They thought it was good. And then they sent me out to be like the man on the street to ask like a question to people. So I'm
Yeah.
standing on a street corner at 40 some years old with a microphone asking people questions. And I would bring my kids with me. They were so little, they couldn't stay home by themselves. And I'm thinking, what the heck am I doing? But it was like $300 a week now. And, I worked my way up and I always knew I loved to write. I have a degree in journalism. So for me, I wasn't really ashamed of it. I was a little embarrassed. It was like a job that like an intern would do, but I didn't care, and look where it led me. I eventually became a features reporter for the Tribune. I had my own column, so that is my success story. It worked out, and it will for you too if you follow, like Amy said, what you love to do, because and it doesn't matter if you start, like, in the kitchen as a dishwasher, if you wanna be a chef, anything.
I mean, I know specifically the opportunities that we have that we have available. Every single business owner that I talk to wants somebody who wants to grow when they grow and be really a part of their team and be an integral part of as they're growing, mature with them, which I think, I'm an entrepreneur. That's the greatest thing to be a part of is something that's growing and that you're learning together. So it's a really good fit for our candidate pool, which are these experienced women who are looking for something that has more meat to it. It's not just like a transactional job and a corporate job, but there's a lot of opportunities within these companies. So I just think it's important to know that there are opportunities out there. You just have to sell yourself and know who you are and what you're good at. And that gets us into number 3, which is to lead with positivity and pride. And, you know, at the end of the day, I believe that everybody has a light that's supposed to be shining bright, and you have to figure it out. What is that makes you shine? And so even if you had a last job that didn't work out because of toxic environment or whatever it is, you never ever want to talk badly about a previous employer or about really anything in life. You really just want to lead with err on the side of positivity and pride and outline what you are fabulous and what you're good at. That's the most important thing. Take the time. Yeah.
And don't talk about your divorce. Say like, "I'm getting
Wow.
divorced." Just don't even bring it up. There's
Don't
no.
bring it up.
Okay, and Amy, I was gonna say something else. Don't you agree with me that there are millions of women in jobs that they would have never thought they'd be doing? So they didn't
Oh,
know
yeah.
either. They went in and they just started it.
Because sometimes it is, yeah, because sometimes it is about the culture or the boss
Yeah.
or what they're doing or who they're interacting with. And so sometimes that's why it's really important to be open-minded and to use your connections and really identify what your strengths are, because so many of these strengths could be utilized in like a laundry manufacturing firm that you never would have thought, but the people there are so warm and amazing that you love it there. So again, like what you're true to what you're saying, it's important to be open. Yeah.
Yeah, I know a woman who got divorced, had 3 little kids, had to go back to work, went to work for this company as a bookkeeper, and then she advanced so much that, like, 10 years later, she's, like, the CFO of the company.
Yeah.
So, that's the way things happen, and Amy, you're so right. I know divorce is a really hard time for people who are listening, and you're forced out of this comfort zone, and maybe you were this wealthy stay-at-home mom like I was, but guess what? I was a lot more miserable looking back when I was a wealthy stay-at-home mom than I was as a person struggling for money as a single mother working, because
You
when
get
I was.
identity.
Yeah, and when I was making my own money, I felt so good, and I felt like
Empowered.
I
Yeah.
was a good role model for my kids, and I ended
Mhm.
up, like, really loving my career, and obviously,
Mhm.
Divorce Girl Smiling then happened too, but it really is
So
hard.
you were able to get the confidence from working to be able to give you the creativity to be able to create something on your own, and without that, sometimes jobs can just be a stepping stone. And maybe you could just work at Starbucks, and Starbucks is an amazing place to work with great benefits, and it gives you the flexibility. And that's just a stepping stone to learn. And then you can go into something else. And so no one should feel like it's beneath that, because all of these jobs can end up, leading you to something pretty fabulous if you're true to who you are and what you're good at.
I just love it, and I'm so glad you brought that up because I think there's a lot of people listening and who might be thinking, "I'd love to start a business, but I need the money, so I have to go back to work." Well, guess what? Start the business and go back to work.
Yeah.
You could do it all. I was working a full-time job, started Divorce Girl Smiling, and had 2 young kids. And I would do it at night, and like Amy said, I learned a ton of stuff from my bosses at the company I worked for. A lot of what Divorce Girl Smiling is on the back end is things I learned watching the management of that company. So you can learn so much going back to work, and then you'll have
But
this.
me and the 2 girls yeah, and me and the 2 girls who work for me, my team, we are all moms who have children who know what it's like, and we were all working in a corporate environment, and we all left that corporate environment to take some time and raise our kids. So we also know what it feels like to have that gap and to know what it feels like to either have to be forced to work or want to work, and how scary. And we all 3 have had our stories of when we went into an office and just the learning curve and what went through it. So we understand how frustrating it is. Even though we may not have gone through a divorce, we know what it feels like to take some time off and re-enter the workforce. So
Now,
we're
Amy, Amy, what about the companies you work with who are looking for the candidates? Are those people moms? Do they understand the schedule?
Yeah, so my goal, I mean, it's funny, before COVID happened, my goal, I was going into all these companies to educate them. And then COVID happened, and then everyone understood what my model was. But really, my goal before COVID happened was to educate these small businesses that don't have HR, that don't have time, resources, energy to hire their administrative assistants or their office managers, that we will take care of that stress and that headache. We will vet, we have the access and help them. So we are always trying to find clients that understand that our candidates are these women who are experienced, who have a life, who have children or an elder or some other thing in their life that they're not able to give 24/7 to this company. And they understand this work-life balance or this work-life fluidity, I guess is what you'll call it. So we try to only work with either women owners or just bosses or owners that understand that our women or our candidates need flexibility in their work.
I love it. Okay, and then your last tip was don't give up because I'm sure you know, Amy, job searching can really be humbling. It can take time, it can take a lot of effort, nothing's happening. You got to be patient. What's
You
your
have to be an advocate. You have to be an advocate for yourself. To sit back and wait will never get you anything. And we always tell people that if you see somebody who knows somebody who's connected, reach out to them, ask. You never get anything that you want by not asking. So we always say, be an advocate for yourself. Like this is the time, if you're divorced, now you're starting over again. So this is the time to start over a clean slate and be an advocate. Look for what you want and ask for what you want because you have literally nothing to lose.
I love it. And for people listening, you might not feel so confident right now. You've been in a bad marriage where you haven't gotten a lot of like love and admiration and maybe respect. And so right now your confidence level is down, but dig deep into your soul and say, hey, I am capable. I'm strong. I'm smart. I pick things up quickly. I've handled being a mom. That's a lot. And so Amy and I can sit here and tell you how great you are, but you have to believe it yourself.
Start writing your list. Start keeping a list of all the things that you're good at and keep a list because you need to sell yourself in these interviews. So it's important to go in knowing off the bat who you are. So write your list. For sure.
Amy, thank you so much for having this conversation. I love it. I feel so inspired.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy holiday or happy everything. Happy year. New year, new you.
Perfect. All right. And to my listeners, if you want to get in touch with ALR Connections and find out about job opportunities or talk to Carly, Amy's coworker who helps people with resumes, or if you want to sign up for workshops or events, you can find everything at staffingwomen.com or alrconnections.com. And you can also find ALR Connections in the Trusted Professionals section of Divorced Girls Smiling, along with so many other wonderful, vetted, trusted divorce professionals. And you can also listen to more podcasts there or sign up for my free consult or read articles. So thank you so much for listening, everybody. We'll talk to you real soon.